Hi, this is Ms. Bazone, and this is solving quadratic equations not in standard form. Okay. So again, this is the third time. What is a quadratic equation? Quadratic equation is something that looks like ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. A, b, and c are numbers, real numbers, and a cannot equal 0. Okay? All right. Review from yesterday. What is an integer? An integer is a positive or negative whole number. What's a rational number? A number that can be written as a fraction. It's also a decimal that repeats or ends. Decimals that repeats or ends can always be written as a fraction. So typically, you can just use the first half as your definition. Okay? So, rational number, a fraction, integer, positive and negative whole numbers. Those are really important vocabulary terms in math. When you're in college, your professors will expect you to know what those mean. Okay, so now look back. Let's look at this again. What do we have on one side of the equal sign? What do we always need on one side of the equal sign? 0. That 0 property is really important. So now, what do we do if we don't have a 0? What do we do if we don't have a 0? We need to make it 0. The problem is there's a whole lot of stuff that multiplies to 3. 1 times 3, 2 times 3 halves, 5 times 3 fifths. So there's a lot of numbers that multiply to 3. So we can't solve this unless this is 0. So we're going to get rid of the 3, subtract it. Minus 3 on both sides. 3 minus 3 is 0. So 0 equals. Can you combine that 3 with either of those? No. So x squared plus 2x minus 3. Now it's something we know how to factor. Right? Now it's something we know how to factor, so we're good. So how do you factor that? Multiply to negative 3, combine to 2. Which one's going to be negative? The 1. Good. So you get x minus 1, x plus 3 equals 0. Are we done? No, remember, we're actually solving. Or finding the roots means solve. Draw your line where they're multiplying, the 0 property. Two things multiply to 0. You need to set them both equal to 0. How do you solve this? Add 1. X equals 1 minus 3. X equals negative 3. And I'm done. Okay. All right, try this next one on your own. Number 2. Oh, wait. Sorry. State the type of roots. So what kind of numbers are 1 and negative 3? They are integers. They also are rational, though. You can say both because an integer is a rational number. All right, number 2. Try it on your own. Pause the video. All right, so step 1, we need a 0 on one side of the equal sign. So to get 0 on one side of the equal sign, we get rid of that 45. We got to get it over to where x squared is. So minus 45 on both sides. Cancels. And again, that 45 is not a like term. You can't combine them. So we're just going to write them all next to each other. All right. And then look, what do I know how to do to that? I know how to factor it. So do that. What kind of factoring problem is it? That's your MC chart. What multiplies to negative 45 and combines to negative 4? 1 times 45. 2 doesn't work. 3 times 15. 4 doesn't work. 5 times 9. That's it. Now you're multiplying to a negative. We need a negative. Which one's negative? The bigger or smaller? The bigger number, because we want a negative. Negative 44, negative 12, negative 4. Okay. So when we factor, we get x plus 5 times x minus 9. The zero property says when two things multiply to 0, at least one of them equals 0. So we draw a line, and we set our factors equal to 0 and solve. Add 9. X equals 9. Minus 5. X equals negative 5. And we're done. Okay, helps if you see. All right, next one. X squared equals 6x minus 9. All right, now a lot of students tell me to move x squared. Here's the problem. Over here, if I move the x squared, this is what I get. The problem is the negative in front of x squared. If you try to do an MC chart, it's not going to work. Think about this. Multiply to negative 9, combine to 6. Right. 3 times 3, one of them's negative. It doesn't work. The negative in front of the x squared is a problem. You always want your x squared to be positive. We always want our x squared to be positive. So instead of moving the x squared, we're going to move both of those. And I'm super lazy. Mathematicians tend to be lazy. So instead of doing this multiple steps, I'm going to do this in one shot. I need to move my 6x over to x squared. And I'm also going to move the 9 all in one shot because I'm super lazy. Okay? So that whole thing cancels, and I get 0.